Okay, so in this video, what I'm doing is I am recreating a website that was built in Elementor. It's this one right here. It's called Casa de Madera. It's a business here in Colombia. As you can see in my background, I'm in the jungles of Colombia, about 3.5 hours from Bogota. But anyway, this is a Colombian business, and what they do is they build wooden houses, more or less second houses for people. And with the pandemic, they're becoming primary homes for a lot of people who have stopped going into the office and if they have the ability to work from home. So I built this website about a little more than a year ago in Elementor, and I've since transitioned from Elementor to Oxygen, and I'm trying to transition all of the sites that I currently manage over to Oxygen. So that's what I'm doing with this one right here. So I've already gotten started, and as I go along, I'm kind of tweaking the design a little bit too. So you'll see the hero section here is quite a bit different. And we're changing some of the marketing schemes that we're doing with this as well. We're using just a different strategy for getting just getting our marketing out there. But anyway, so this is what I've done so far, and so this is the old site. This is the new site here. So we got this going on here. Let me get the front end on this here too. So we got, this is the old site, this is the new site. So I did this all the other day. Now I'm up to this section here for the projects, recent projects. So this is the Flipbox area down here, and this is going to be the recent projects. So what I'm going to do is I want to also do a Flipbox style for this as well. And so that's what I'm going to do now. So let's see, what do I got here? So that's my Flipbox over there. So this is live. It's not going to be live as you're watching it, but I'm not editing this. I'm kind of just going to be working through some problems and solving some problems as we go along. And the idea is to just kind of show how I go about solving problems. All right. So this is a recent project section right over here. So what I'm using in Oxygen is the repeater. So it dynamically pulls in the content from a post type. And the post type I'm pulling it in from is called projects. So we got this, and we got the div here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this. And what I'm going to do is I want to pull in a flip box, and I'm going to try to work that out as we go along here. So let's get this flip box in here. And I've never done this with a repeater before, so here we go. Not sure how it's going to work out, but we'll see. All right, so there's our repeater. So let's do this. And let's pull in our query, custom query. Let's move this out of the way. Let's see if we can put it over here somewhere. And all right, so we're going projects. We're going to apply that. Okay, so looks like it's working. All right, hallelujah. All right, so here we go. So what I want to do is I want to mimic somewhat what we got over here. I might change it a little bit. And it works quite a bit different in Oxygen than it does in Elementor. So this Flipbox widget, you pull in the widget, everything is in there. I don't really know what's going on in the back end. With Oxygen, you got to have a little bit more of an understanding of the CSS and how it's working in the back end, which makes it a little bit more challenging to build. But once you get the hang of it, you can put systems into place and things go quickly. But the benefit of that, the end user benefit of that, the final product benefit of that is that you get a much leaner, faster website. Oxygen is well known for its performances right out of the box. With Elementor, you got to put a lot of caching. You got to really optimize the site. Since I've been building with Oxygen, I do very little optimization. The things that I make sure I pay attention to are images. If I get my images in here and make sure that they're optimized, that's pretty much all I do. I throw a caching plugin in there when I'm done, but when you do the page speed tests with like the Google or GT metrics, it's A's and high 90s across the board. Good enough. All right, so what we're going to do here, I got my repeater. Now I got my flip box in here. And so we have the code for the flip box right here, which is just all of this JavaScript. And now we got my front and we got our back. Okay, so in our front, what we're going to do, so it's got a heading in there. So let's do this. Let's see if I can make this work. We got our heading. So we're not seeing our heading just because it's probably white text. And that's exactly what's going on. So there we go. So let's get that. Our icon, same thing. It's white. Let's get rid of that. And this text right here, let's get rid of that. So now we can see what we're working with in here. Now with, if you come over here, we look at our projects, it's just an image on the front side, okay? So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna just delete all of this stuff here. Delete, delete, delete. And so we got our div here in the front. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop an image in there, image icon or widget. Then let's go height 100%. There we go. And now let's get the featured image in here. Large, insert, and we got our featured image. Now, if you notice it's looking squished, it looks terrible. There is a trick for that. I can fix that right away. So what we do here, we come over to the custom CS for this particular widget. So it's what we're doing is we're adding the CSS to the ID of this widget here. Okay, so what we do is we do object dash fit colon, and then we do cover, and you see that pops right into place. So, so what that's doing is that it doesn't matter what the dimensions of the containing box are, the image itself is going to be, it's going to fit in there without being squished or distorted. Now you do object cover, and now I can control the position in there a little bit too. So what you do is object dash position, and automatically it's going to be 50-50, meaning that it's going to center it in there. So let's put in 50% this way, and then we do 50% this way. But now, say if I wanted it to be a little bit taller, a little bit lower, you know, you can. It doesn't have to be percentage. You can do pixels. So the second number is going to be your y-axis, up and down. First number is your x-axis. So if I did pixels, you'll see it pushes it down. Generally 50-50 works for me, unless there's a special case for that. And in this case, this is going to be fine. So I'm not going to mess with that at all. We're going to leave that alone. All right, so let's save that. And let's take a look at it on the front end over here. And there are all of our images, and they're not quite fitting in right. So I think this has something to do with the back over there. But so I'm going to play around a little bit more and see what I can do. Like I said, this is a work in progress. I've never done this before. So let's go. Let's see what I can make happen here. Object cover, apply the code. All right, but let's just keep moving. Now, the hover effect that we have here is doing this. So I want to try to get a different kind of a transition effect on here. So what I did is I looked up the different transition properties for CSS. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, so what I'm going to do is just do this. So transform style, preserve 3D. So on this one, the transform style is, if we come over here and we look into the code, CSS code, the transform style is preserve 3D. Let's see what else we got over here. If there is anything else. Nope, there's nothing on this page. So let's go look at a different page so you can get a different kind of transformation. Basically what I wanted to do is just kind of like slide in and slide out. Transform style flat. Let's see what happens if I put in transform style flat. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. So let's go transform style. Let's see what else we got over here. All right, let's take this over and see what it is. I have no idea what's going to happen, but let's see what happens. Transform style. Put that in there flat. Let's do this all over the place. Flat. Flat there. Apply the code. Hit save. And let's refresh. Okay, well, that's not doing anything there. But anyway, I'm not going to get too hung up on that. I want to keep moving. I think the most important thing at this point would be to try to solve this here problem with this image, why that's not working. All right, so let's do Lift the height like this. So it seems like the height is not coming through for some reason. Let's go back to pixels. Let's see something here. Let's try to close all this stuff here. Give myself a little more room. So this is our flip box. Size and spacing. Just give me a width of 100%. So what I'm trying to do is find where the height is being set on this. So we got front, size and spacing. Let's see what we got going on here. So this is the back, size and spacing. It's just giving me padding, but it's not giving me anything else. All right, so I got to figure this out. Let's see, flip box front, size and spacing. Let's do height of 300. See what that, oh, I want 300, not 3,000. Okay, so let's try 200. Okay, so now it doesn't shrink, and that's something that's a little curious to me. So let's figure out where it's getting its height from. So if I were to come into, so I'm in the class, I got layout. We're not gonna be able to set any heights in layout. We got width. Okay, so I'm not gonna see any of that there. So let's see if I come into the ID, and if I set the height in the ID, if I did 200, let's see what happens. 200. Again, not changing. All right, so somewhere this is being affected outside of this, outside of this. I got to figure out where that's happening. I wonder if maybe it's being set in the code somewhere. Minimum height. There we go. Okay, so it's here in the code. So this is where I want to change it. Okay, so I wonder if I need to put flat here too. Whoops. Let's close that. Let's get a little higher contrast on this. Okay, so let's do copy. Let's put flat here. Let's put flat here. Here. Okay, so let's apply that code. Let's see if this worked. We should be able to save this. And let's refresh that. All right, I'm not really sure what that does, so you know what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna worry about that later. Let's get that 3D back in here. And let's see if I can just go backwards like this. Let's go back to my, here we go, preserve 3D. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put preserve 3D. I'm going to solve that problem later because that is not as critical. You know, I could live with that, you know, so if I never figure that problem out, I'll be okay with that. Okay, so, but the problem I'm trying to solve here, minimum height 400 pixels. I don't want minimum height 400 pixels. I want to go down to, let's go down to 2, apply the code. Okay, so that's not doing it either. 200 pixels, minimum height. What if I just did height? Apply the code, and that's not changing anything. So now, let's see if I come over here, size. Oh, that's because I got this going on. No, so that's not doing it. Let's go back over here to front. Let's do this. Okay, so that's not it either. Go back here. Min height. You know, sometimes this stuff can take a few minutes to figure out. Sometimes I'll just throw a number in there to try to get it to do something. And sometimes you break it and you got to start all over again. And that's okay too. Okay, so there we go. So, oh, that's affecting everything. That's affecting those as well. Okay, so I see what's going on because obviously we got classes on this thing. So let's, we got to figure something else out. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure out how to override that in a different way because I don't want to change the other flip boxes. Like I don't want to change the size of these. I like the size of these. I'm happy with the size of these. They are dynamic. Everything works really well with them. I don't want to change that. Whoops. So what I'm gonna have to do, and I can't mess with this code at all. All right, so let's see. Flipbox front, flipbox. Okay, so I mean, I suppose I could update all of the classes. I'm wondering if there's another way to do that. Is there a way to override this? And I think there might be. So let's go back here. Now we got our flipbox front. Size and spacing is just 100%. All right, so let's see. How am I going to do this? If I come into here, and if I did the height here, okay, so I can get to this. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to override in the ID. Let's see if that'll work. Okay, looks like that's going to work. All right, so I got it to 200. So I'm overriding everything in the ID. So let's save this. Let's do this. Okay, so it's working on some of them, but not all of them. All right, well, hey, here we go. This is all part of it, and I'm kind of glad this is happening. It's frustrating, but it's just going to demonstrate the problem solving that I try to go through, and it's inevitable with every one of these projects that we work on. It's going to be something like this. And the good thing is that once I get it, and there we go, I got the image to fit in there fine now. So I'm probably going to just have to go to the back and change that, and that hopefully will fix everything else over here. Okay, those boxes are staying the same because I'm not changing the class. What I'm doing is I am doing this in the ID. Okay, so review. Let's come over here. Size and spacing, min height, 30 rem, which is equivalent to 300 pixels. And let's see. Yeah, so that looks good. So maybe let's do 350 pixels. There we go. All right. Now let's do the back. We're going to do the same thing to the back. We're going to go into the ID. Size and spacing, min height, rem, and we're going to do 350. Okay. So let's save that. And let's see if that helps us with everything. Okay, so that equalizes all the boxes now. Still got that issue with the image. So let's see. Let's go back to the image again. Height 100%. So what if we did height 350? Let's fix that. Back here, refresh. Okay, so there we go. All right, a little bit here, a little bit there, and we are all good. Okay, so we got that all set. I paused the video for a second. Your eyes are not deceiving you. I took my sweatshirt off and got myself a little guava juice. Okay, so here we go. Let's hide that. All right, so our next step. So these are here, and these are working. Got the size issue set up. Now, as I'm thinking through this here, if I want to go in here and change some of this CSS, since it is sharing a class with everything else, because I kind of like the flip box up here. I don't mind that here. if I am going to do this down here, I'm gonna have to create a whole new class. So I'm not gonna do that now. I'm just gonna keep working through this here. So our next step is, now we're gonna work on the back, okay? And the back is gonna be this information right here. So our first one, okay, it's coming through in a little bit of a different order here. So this first one here is the project that's in Kahika, okay? So, but it doesn't matter because it's gonna pull everything in dynamically. I could change the order if I want to, but anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the back now, and let's see how we got this set up here. So we got the title, and that's going to be pulled in dynamically. So let me get rid of all of this stuff here. Okay, so the back. So what we need is we need a header element, and we're going to give that. Let's give it an H3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of this background here. Now let's see, is that color going to be in the class? Yep, color's in the class. Now, trying to think what would be an appropriate color. Let's try. Yeah, one of the goals of doing the rebuild is also to kind of update some of the design a little bit. Like I think that this design here is a little dark. Okay, and if you can see on this one right here, I've already started to lighten things up a little bit. Obviously, that's a dark brown, but it's still a little lighter, a little more inviting, I think. So I'm using lighter colors on the buttons, just trying to lighten things up again. So in that spirit, so I'm going to use a lighter color on the background here. All right, so let's see what we got going on here. So these flip boxes come in, it's part of the Oxygen program. So there's a lot of things that are done in here that I can just go in and I can change and I can adjust. And that's the one thing that I really like about working with Oxygen is how well you can use the classes and you can make adjustments across the entire site. So I can create my own classes. This is a class that was created by Oxygen. And then I have a whole other series of classes in here that I've created for myself. It's just like a utility class that's going to have an effect on the whole site. So as you can see, I'm only working on one of these things, but we got all of these other things here. So try not to pay attention to the layout here. Let me get this back to zoomed out. This is always going to be messed up like this. I don't know why, but as you can see, it's perfectly fine on the front end. This is just pulling in dynamic content. I don't work on these three things over here. I'm just working on this first one, and it keeps everything else updated going, across the whole thing. So nothing to worry about there. All right, so now with this one, I'm going to look at the class first and see where okay, so we got the background in the class, size and spacing, so the padding. So this is all set up in pixels. I like to work in rems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this for now. I'm going to switch this over to rem, and I'm just going to do, let's say, let's just start off with 20 pixels all the way around. Okay. So rem it's hard. I'm not going to go into what rem is and how it works, but basically I'm putting 2 in there, but it's a multiple of 10. So it's in effect 20 pixels. All right. So that's 2 rem there right now. Let's see. I'm pretty sure. Yep. It's going to be middle. Do I want to be in the middle? Yeah, I guess we can be in the middle. But I'm going to flush everything inside here to the left. I am... Something about centered text. I don't know. It's harder for me to read. So there's a lot of information in here. So doing this now that I'm flushing everything to the left, let's pull in the dynamic title for this now to show you how that works. So we double click on that, highlight the whole thing, insert data, and I want the title of the post. Okay. And I will make it a link. I just don't like to make it a link that way. I do it this way. Let's see. Link it up, and I'm not going to do that there either. Come over to data, and we use the permalink, and there we go. All right, so that's giving me the. All right, so now I got to adjust the colors on this. Okay, so let's come over here. Where am I going to do this? Let's go to the link wrapper, and we're going to do typography, color. Let's start off with white for now. And You know what? Left, center. Let's go to the top. Let's come back over here to our spacing. And actually, I think maybe 50 pixels is going to be a little bit better. Yeah, let's get everything like that. All right. Um, the background, I'm still not sold on the background. Still not sold on the background. Let me see something here. Okay. I got to be careful about how I work here because this color is now here. So I'm affecting the color here, but it's not going to matter because that has an image in it. So it's not going to matter. But I still need to be mindful of stuff like that. Classes are fantastic, but you got to be careful because the unintended consequences, as good as they are, it could actually trip you up a little bit. I have made changes where I'm working in the class when I'm meant to be working in the ID or in a different class. And then you kind of got to go through and debug stuff. But the great thing about the program that I'm using here, because I added something in here called Oxy Ninja, and I can always come over here and I can reset my classes. So if I do make a mistake and I do go a little too far, you can reset it site-wide, or you could just reset one class at a time. So like there are times where I've come in here and I just need to reset one particular class. I type in the class here, hit reset, and it goes back to the default. Okay. All right. So let's keep moving along with this. Still not sold on the background color of this. I'm wondering if it would be better to. Oh, I definitely don't want to go there. If I come here, um, not really sure. Not really sure. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave it. Which one of these? This one or this one? They are pretty much the same, aren't they? Very slight difference. Let's just leave it there for now. I'm probably going to come back in and fix this. All right, so we got that. What else are we bringing in? We're bringing in the date. Okay, so we got client. Okay, so all of this stuff. Okay, I haven't set up all of this information yet, so why don't I go ahead and do that? So because I want to be able to pull in all of this information dynamically, and I don't have that here yet. I don't have clients. I do have the description, the date, and the area. It's all in Spanish, obviously. Fecha means date in Spanish. Okay, so I'm going to pull in the description. So let's see how we're going to do this. Okay, so we got this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here. We're going to drop in a text element. And this one is going to be dynamic as well. But what we're going to do first, we're going to put, well, let's get it set up. So let's do client. Don't have the information for client just yet. Let's duplicate that. In fact, I'm going to go back here for a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start styling this stuff right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this thing a class. So we got how am I doing my classes? I'm doing CD. Yeah, I'm doing CD. I try to put I prepend all of my classes with some identifier so I know that it's the class that I'm writing as opposed to, so you see everything here with a C. That's this here Oxy Ninja. They call it core. So C stands for core, Oxy Ninja. So I like to differentiate it, and I put CD for Casa de Madera. And we're going to call this, what are we going to call it? We're going to call it, how do we do this? So it's going to be the flip box. It's going to be portfolio or project. Flip box, project, and we're going to call it description. Did I spell that right? I did not. Description. Okay, we're going to add that class to it. And all right, so I'm going to come over here. So I'm in CD Flipbox project description. Typography is going to be white. Font size, let's see, 24, maybe a little bit lower. Okay, we're going to do font weight. You know what? I'm not going to do font weight here right now because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a bold, and then the other thing's not going to be bold. Okay, so we got client. So that's that. And we're going to duplicate this a few times. How many times? We got, whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so first one is client. Second one is this. I'm going to just copy. I do not like to type, so I just copy and paste. Okay, so that's 1 or 2 in this case. Then we got 3. Let's do 3. And then over here, we're going to do 4. And 5. Whole thing. Okay. So now we got that done, and I'm going to give it a, well, let's bring in the content in dynamically first. So the one I know I definitely got is description. So let's come over here, and I created a custom field for this. So I go over to here, advanced custom fields, and drop in description, and it's pulling it in just like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I want this to be bold, and I want the rest of it not to be bold. Okay. Okay. So we got that. Okay, so let's see. Fetcher, we got the date. So let's pull in this data. And let's come over here. Date, insert. And then we also have area. All right, you know what? Let me bold that while I'm here. Don't want to forget. Okay, so now let's come over here to area. Okay, so let's come over here to area, insert data, custom field, area, insert. Okay, so that's that. Let's come over here, make that bold. Now if I come over here, now you see I did all of this just once, but everything is going to be pulled in dynamically. So right now we got 4 projects in that post type. So now if I come over here, update this, we do our thing here. So we got the name, Kota, client, the script, all this stuff, and you see it's taking care of all of them. Okay, I didn't put any of this stuff in there. It's just pulling it in dynamically. But now that I see it here on the front end, I'm going to want to get in there and fix it up a little bit. I'm wondering if my height should change a little bit. So I can drop in a class already. So that I have a custom class set up for that. Let's save that. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so it's getting a little tight in there now. So maybe medium is too much. So I'm going to get rid of that class. So I have margin bottom medium, but I also have margin bottom small. And I'm going to put that in there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these cards a little bit taller now, because now that I'm working and I see where I get all that information in there, I'm going to need a little more room. So I have it at 350. I am going to maybe bump it up to 400. And I'm going to bump this one. And now I can't create a class for this, because what I'm doing is because the way styling works on the back end with CSS is a hierarchy, and ID takes precedence over class. So if you make a change, and it also and it all depends on where it is in the document that you're writing. So the CSS that you write at the top is going, I forget if it's what's written at the top takes precedent of what's written below it, or vice versa. But either way, it's a, CSS stands for cascading style sheet. So it cascades. I don't know how else to explain it, but this is not a CSS class or course. I just know how to make it work, and a lot of it is trial and error. A lot of it is like, 'cause I don't really commit any of this stuff to memory. I just throw it in there. If it works, great. If not, I change it and I work it until it does work. Um, I'm not a coder, as they say. Um, I I make it work. So a lot of this is trial and error. So anyway, so all of this is to say is I'm putting this on the ID instead of, because I'm sure there's like, well, why don't you just put it in a class so it affects all of them? I can't do it. I got to make it in the ID. So in this case, it's not the most efficient way to do it, but it's the way I'm going to do it for now because it's going to work. So we got that at 400. Let's go to the back, and we're going to come into the ID, size and spacing, and we're going to make this 400 as well. Let's update this. Let's go to the front. Okay, you can see the cards are a little bit taller now. I'm gonna have to get in there and adjust the images, but that's okay. So I got a little more room in here. Looks good. Looks good. Looking good. All right, and I got to get the rest of that information in there now too. So let's fix these images right now. So I got the image. I got the height. So we got to get this up to 400 now too. Okay, and there we go. And just to check and make sure that that works. And there you go. Okay. So our next step is going to be, what is our next step going to be? Okay, I had to pause there for a second. My wife came in and had some questions about lunch. Anyway, next step, that's where we were at. Okay, so, all right, so what we need to do is we need to get the client name and then the address, the location of this project in here. Because right now, all we have is the description, the date, and the area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to create those custom fields and get that in there. And so the way we're going to do that is custom fields, and let's go to field groups. This is basically just adding what it says, adding fields to and I can assign those fields to a specific page or post or things like that. All right, so I got it on here, project details. So we got description. So what I need to add, and the great thing about pulling in, doing it this way and then pulling in dynamic data, I can put all that data in there. If I need it, I pull it in. If I don't need it, no harm. Okay. So, so what we're going to do is we need to pull in clients. Let's just copy this right from here. Again, add the field, put that in there, creates the slug automatically. It's going to be a text field. And that's it. That's done. That's how easy this stuff can be. We're going to take this, that in there, and let's see. Yeah, it's not going to give me that little accent over the O. And what else do I need? I think that's all I need, right? That's the only things I'm missing. 1 and 2. All right, so that's done. Hit update. And now I want to, I'm going to go into this Kahika over here. So this is a regular WordPress post. This is the custom post that I created, my projects. And we're going to do what first? Kahika. Let's do Kahika first. Here's Kahika, edit. And here are the fields right here. This is what I just created right here. Client, it's just the two, right? Okay. So in this case, the client is Amparo Garcia. Let's get her in there. And the details. Oh, wait, details. Don't have to worry about details. Nope, that's something else. It's here. That in there. And everything else is there. And what's great about these fields, if we need to add more images, all you got to do is click add extra row, come over here, find an image, drop it in, and you're good to go. And if you decide you don't need it, just delete it. So it makes everything nice and dynamic. So when I hand this off to a client, I can make it real easy for them. All they have to do is, it's just like basically filling out a form. So, the front end of the page looks like this. And, asking them to come in here and go into the oxygen editor and start, it'll make their head spin, because, there's some little tricks, or not tricks, but it's like an old car. You got to know how it works. Sometimes you got to hit the door twice before you can roll down the window, things like that. There's certain things about getting into these editors, whether it's Oxygen, Elementor, Beaver Builder, Divi, whatever it is. There's certain little things about it that, unless you have experience, it's going to get pretty frustrating for them. So the solution to that is by using these custom fields like this, keeps them out of the editor, never have to go in there, and they can still get new information in there, update information, and it falls right into the design and looks fantastic. All right, so that's Cajica. Let's update this. Our next one is going to be Miraflores, and we got the client and the ubicación. I don't really speak Spanish. Not well enough anyway, a little bit. But anyway, that doesn't matter. What matters is that I get the right information in there. So let's go to Miraflores, edit, and those fields are going to show up here too, client and ubicación. So let's do this. Client is Jairo Avila. Drop his name in there. And ubicación, Miraflores, Boyacá. Boyacá is the state. It's kind of like New Jersey, but not like New Jersey at all. Nothing against New Jersey. I love New Jersey, but Miraflores is nothing like New Jersey. Okay, so we can update this. And so we got that. Next one, Cogua. Javier Urbina is our client. Okay, let's put that in the client name. And location, Cogua, Cundinamarca. Okay, let's put that in there. And the last one is Cota. Client, Gregoria Medina. Let's copy that. Come back over here. I probably should have paused the video for this. No real reason for you guys to be watching this. But if you do, great. Thank you. Over here, Cobra. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. I made a mistake. Not Cobra. Cota. Cota. Where's Cota? There it is. Let's get the client in here. And the address or location. Put that in there. And now we hit update. And now, here's where the fun begins, or the fun continues. Let's go back to our front page here, get into the editor. And now what we're going to do is we're going to just update that dynamic data so that it pulls that information to the front. And we're rolling along. And then the next step after that will be to check all the different screen sizes. And I have a really cool tool that helps me get that just right. Okay, so let's see, client. I'm going to get that information in here now. And now you'll see that advanced custom field will show up over here. There's the client, insert. And what I want to do is make this bold. Okay, and there's the name right there. Super easy. Come back to advanced custom fields, get that in there. And let's, whoops. So this is what I mean about the old car. Sometimes you got to figure out how to make that stuff happen. And if there was a client in here and that's not their job, that they don't really want, I mean, they may be curious about how this stuff works, but they don't want to work in this. They want to work on their business. And that's really where my value comes in. It's like, I really try to relieve a lot of this stress that this type of work can be for people that don't want to do it. If you're an architect, or if you're a massage therapist, you want to focus on that. You don't want to spend your time doing this. Yeah, of course, there are some people that do, and there's ways around that. But for those that don't want to do it, I love doing this stuff. I really love hitting up against some problems, solving those problems, and then being able to deliver that to the client. Okay, so here we go. So that's done. Let's hit save. Let's up. Is it done saving? Sometimes it takes a minute. Now we're gonna refresh this. Scroll on down here, and there it is. Every single one of these has been updated. Now this is dropping down to the second line. That kind of bugs me, so I'm going to see what I can do about fixing that so that that doesn't happen. I want this, at the very least, I want it to begin right after here, because this kind of looks like a mistake to me, and I don't like that. So I'm going to do something about that, and let's see how we can fix that. So what I could do, let's go back to our structure panel here, and let's just throw a couple of things out there, see which one will work ultimately. So we go to our size and spacing. That's our height right there. Now I was working in the class on this one because I wanted to, I want this to be universal. I want to make sure though that I don't mess with the back of this. And I have. Okay, so you see what happened here? This is supposed to be centered. And because I was working in the class, this got changed. So let's see what I can do about that. Let's see. What did I do? All right, I want this to be centered and centered. And that takes care of that. So now we're back to where we want to be. So I'm going to work in the ID on this one again. So I want this to be vertical. I want it to be left, and I want it to be top. Okay, so we're good there. Size and spacing, minimum height, we're good there. Let's switch all of this to rem, and we're going to do 20. Oh wait, 20. See, I even make that mistake too. I think 20, I type 20, should be just 2, which gives me 20. Still don't have that. Still have this on 2 lines. This one works, but this one is not working. So let's see. Let's think this through. How am I going to make that work? All right. Maybe what I can do is I can think a little bit bigger on this one. And I got this layout. Let's see. Let's check something out here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm thinking, like, instead of thinking on the one column itself, that one card, I'm trying to think a little bit bigger, trying to think of like what's affecting that card. So what I'm thinking here is like, well, what if I just give it a little more room on the outside so all of the cards get a little bit bigger instead of trying to squeeze it into the smaller card. So I'm looking at what I have set up here in my different classes, and so none of these are sized. I got my full width here, so that's 100% wide. So I'm pretty sure I'm going all the way with this. But let's go all the way up to the section now and see if I did anything here. And I did not. Okay, so this is my div that's... And I like to keep these things better named, actually. Let's call this wrapper. All right, so there's not much I can do here because I already have full width. So what I could do, maybe I can just make the text a little bit smaller. Let's see, what is my text size at? I'm at 20, probably go down to 18. 18, it's not terrible. I think that'll work. It's going to work for now, so let's leave that. Let's go back up here. Let's go here. I'm going to just open this up a little bit. Maybe that's too much. Let's go there. Maybe here we can come out a little bit like that. All right, I think that's going to work. All right, so this one was a little bit tricky, because I'm bouncing back and forth between classes and IDs, making sure that I stay in the right place. So, not perfect, but you know what? Good enough. Good enough. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to want to make this, well, this is a link right now. So if we were to click on this, it's going to take me, but I haven't laid out this post yet, so nothing is going to show up. Um, but what I would like is for this whole thing, or you know what, maybe I'm going to put a button in there, right? Did I put a button in here last time? Yeah, I got a button in there. All right. So I'm going to leave that title as a link because I think oftentimes people they've come to expect that on the internet. If they click on the title, it should be a link. So I'm going to leave that a link. I'm not going to make any of these other things here a link, but what I am going to do is I'm going to add a button in here. What what did I do? Let's see. Sometimes, oh, I see what I did. Um, let's do this. Okay, I'm not sure what I did. I hit a key command and I got an unexpected result. So let's go back here, here. Yeah. So, oh, okay. I know exactly what happened now. So let's go back to this. Leave that like that. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come up here. Let's try it again. No. Okay. So somehow, some way. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay. So somehow, some way, my key commands are not working. Let's try it again. There we go. Got it. Third time's a charm, as they say, right? All right. Now, did I style the buttons and create a class? I really should have if I didn't. Yeah, and I did. And I'm going to just get that in here. But that's not going to work in here because I got the different colored background. So what I'm going to need to do is create, let's start off this way. Okay, so let's come down to this button here. Let's apply it to the right class. Let's get my button in here. Okay, so it's our default button, but obviously that's not going to work because it's the wrong color. But it's a good start, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So, leer más. Let's get the right text in there. I'm not getting my. There we go. All right. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a second link or a second class. And what I'm going to do is so I have my button default. Now I'm going to create a class, and I'm going to call it button alternate. But I'm going to start off, but I'm going to keep most of the parameters of the default. I'm just going to change the color. Okay, so let's do this. So we're going to call it CM dash button dash alternate. Okay, so create that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my default button here. I'm going to copy the styles from that. I'm going to paste it in there. And now if I delete this class, I have my button. All right, so I need to get here. I need to get, am I going to put margin above? Let's try margin above. I hardly ever do that. Let's try that. Margin top. Do I got a margin top in here? You know what, let's just type in top. And margin top. No, I'm not getting a margin top. Okay, that's okay. I'm just going to go do margin bottom because I know it works. Let's just keep the ball rolling. Margin bottom, and let's do medium below a button because sometimes I think that's better. Although it is getting a little cozy down there. All right, so now I'm back in my CM button alternate, and we're going to do. Let's come over here. Got my primary button color. We're going to change that to the blue color, and on hover, let's go with. Let's just go with white. Okay, so that works. Obviously, we're gonna have to change the text color on hover, but that's easy enough to do. Okay, so 20, da-da-da-da. All right, now to get the text button, I'm going to come over here to state, and I'm going to create the hover state, and the text color is going to be black. Okay, and for some reason that's, oh, there we go, it's working. All right, so let's do this. Now I want to give this button a link, and we're going to give it the link. Let's go back to now original state, and let's come over here to the link. We're going to set it dynamically to go to the permalink. Let's hit save. Hover. Oh, wait, hold on. I don't think the text is working for some reason, but we'll figure that out. Okay, not here, here. Okay, so my hover effect is not working there for some reason. This is going to work. Okay. Let's figure out why my hover text is not working. Hover text color. So let's come over here, typography. Let's go to state, hover, and here it's white. Okay, so this is overriding it. Okay, so I think we're good. That was all. I just had to delete that. Refresh. And now we got our button. Good. And all of them. Good, good, good. All right. That is that. So the next step on this would be to do the responsive, making sure that everything on here is responsive. This video is getting a little bit long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just end it here. I think we did quite a bit, and I will create a second video where I'm going through the responsive, and I'm just going to clean up this section a little bit. There's some things here like the margin below here is a little tight. To me, that's a little tight, and maybe even the title here might be a little bit big. I want to shrink it down, maybe get it to be the same size as this. So like the font here is 38, and here it is 61. So I'm going to try to fix that so that we get a little more consistency throughout the site. So let's see, what do I got here? Okay, that's an H2. This one is probably an H1, and that's why it's coming into, yep, H1. You don't want to have an H1 down there no matter what the size is. So let's get that back down there. Save that. And there we go. So that's better. I'm just going to change the margin on this from margin medium. And I'm going to do margin, let's see what XL looks like. Margin bottom XL, save that. I think in these sections that I can get away with that. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Gives it a little more breathing room. Might have to add a little padding on the bottom there as well. But overall, I'm happy with the way this looks. Happy with the way this came out. All right, thank you. And again, any questions, thoughts, just want to say hi, just leave a comment down below, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. All right, thank you very much.